Hello and welcome to Inside Indiana Business. I'm Gary Dick. Well, some of Indianapolis's biggest conventions have made it clear an expanded convention center and more hotel space were significant factors in their decisions to keep their big events in the Circle City. GenCon, one of the state's largest conventions, wrapping up this weekend, its annual event. It's drawn tens of thousands of visitors to Indy and expected to generate some $70 million in economic impact. GenCon signed on to remain in Indy through at least 2023 after plans were announced to expand the Indiana Convention Center and add 2 adjacent hotels, a total of 1,400 rooms. But those plans have changed a bit. And Visit Indy's Senior Vice President Chris Gahl is here to talk about what it means in the ultra-competitive convention business. Chris, as always, welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me on, Gary.
You bet. Okay, let's start with GenCon. It's such an amazing event in terms of size and the uniqueness, back again this year with incredible economic impact.
They've been here since 2003, and each and every year they continue to grow. We're expecting the 7th straight year consecutive record-setting attendance. We have visitors, more than 66,000, representing every state in 40 different countries. And as you mentioned, $70 million in economic impact. It's a big deal. It's also a big deal they leave a positive footprint each year. Since arriving, they've donated to local charities more than $250,000. So they give back in many ways.
So the impact is obviously extremely significant. Now, this is one of those conventions that a lot of people would like to have, a lot of other communities. GenCon committed here through 2023, but you're really in the process of trying to get them to stay longer. You visited with their CEO, visited with their owner this week. What they have to say?
Yeah, so we sat down with GenCon's CEO and owner. We said, hey, look, here are renderings of what the convention center expansion will look like and the 2 anticipated hotels. Here's what Indy will look like, the capital city, in 2023 and beyond. That was really important to their decision making to stay here through 2023. They're eyeing Indy. They need more hotel rooms. They need more expanded convention center space, or else they'll literally outgrow the city. So they're watching and right now happy.
Okay, 2 hotels announced some months ago. A Hilton branded Signia Hotel just launching in Indianapolis, Orlando, and Atlanta. Another hotel, 1,400 total rooms. Mayor Hogsett came out a couple of weeks ago and said, hey, we're going to not scale it back, but delay development of the second hotel. Is that cause for concern?
Not really. We're relieved that the expansion and the first hotel, the larger of the 2, will go forward. That will keep us healthy. We're anxious on the timeline of how that will change for the second. Obviously, that's a decision with the developer and the city. We feel confident on our research that we can supply enough conventions to fill up both, but ultimately supportive of the mayor and the decision they made, and will get us through the short term.
But these conventions are certainly keeping an eye on the development at Pan Am Plaza.
Well, you look at the Combine, they've renewing now just annually. As players are looked at on the field, they're examining the city off the field and making sure that we're developing.
We'll talk about that in a second, but also, as we were talking off camera, you haven't announced the name yet, but you've secured a convention that Indianapolis has been chasing for a long time.
2 decades. We first started calling and knocking on the door of this major citywide convention in 1999.
Wow. Just
last week, they said yes to Indianapolis, giving us the verbal for 2026. It's a $30 million convention, monopolizing every hotel room we have to offer, contingent on really and due to the expansion of the Indiana Convention Center and these new hotels. So for those thinking, hey, how far out are you booking conventions? Right. 26. Yeah. 2031, and this expansion is transformative.
All right, you mentioned the Combine. Indianapolis presumably also going to make a bid for the NFL Draft. Now, these are things that maybe wouldn't have the impact economically, but from a visibility and a branding and exposure standpoint, off the charts.
It's all about diversifying Indy's portfolio. When you look at major sporting events and conventions, the Draft is one we've not hosted. What an interesting bookend to have the Combine and then the Draft. So the Colts, the Indiana Sports Corps, the city, the CIB, we've sat around the table twice now. We are eyeing that event for a future year. We've got to get through the busy calendar of the All-Star Game and college football playoffs. You'll see us most likely put on a very aggressive bid, led by the Sports Corps, led by the Colts, sometime in the mid-2025, 6, 7, and 8, and we're anxious about that.
Lots going on, obviously, in the convention and tourism business. Chris Gahl from Visit Indy, as always, great perspective. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me on.
All right.